Big D, the show to watch. LFS 6B, yeah, LFS 6B. Big D looking good in his cowboy hat, always intrigued where David Sears at. Our main man Harry is certainly no slouch. Come on Harry, get the hell off the couch. America's voice is the place to be. Got Slick, Delgado, and of course Big D, the show to watch. LFS 6B, ooh yeah, LFS 6B. If you want some fun along with good insight, tune in 8 to 10 weeknights. Plenty of merchandise to be had. The odds makers reveal whose picks are bad. Hello, America's voice is the place to be. Got Slick, Delgado, and of course Big D, the show to watch. LFS 6B, yeah, yeah, LFS 6B. Look alive, it's time to stop. What you're doing, it's 8 o'clock. Friday night pizza show is on tap. LFS 6B is where it's at. Whoa, oh. America's voice is the place to be. Got Slick, Delgado, and of course Big D, the show to watch. LFS 6B, yeah, yeah, LFS 6B. Slick does sports and dresses to the nines. Big D loves when he says it's rodeo time. Delgado might wear the tinfoil hat, but we all love, what even is that? Aaron and Fran always holding it down. We look forward to another crazy town. Kevin Downey Jr. fills another seat. His sharp wit and wisdom can't be beat. America's voice is the place to be. Got Slick, Delgado, and of course Big D, the show to watch. LFS 6B, yeah, LFS 6B. Big D looking good in his cowboy hat, always intrigued where David Sears at. Our main man Harry is certainly no slouch. Come on Harry, get the hell off the couch. America's voice is the place to be. Got Slick, Delgado, and of course Big D, the show to watch. LFS 6B, ooh yeah, LFS 6B. If you want some fun along with good insight, tune in 8 to 10 weeknights. Plenty of merchandise to be had. The odds makers reveal whose picks are bad. Hello, America's voice is the place to be. Got Slick, Delgado, and of course Big D, the show to watch. LFS 6B, yeah, yeah, LFS 6B. Look alive, it's time to stop. What you're doing, it's 8 o'clock. Friday night pizza show is on tap. LFS 6B is where it's at. Whoa, oh. America's voice is the place to be. Got Slick, Delgado, and of course Big D, the show to watch. LFS 6B, yeah, yeah, LFS 6B. Slick does sports and dresses to the nines. Big D loves when he says it's rodeo time. Delgado might wear the tinfoil hat, but we all love, what even is that? Aaron and Fran always holding it down. We look forward to another crazy town. Kevin Downey Jr. fills another seat. His sharp wit and wisdom can't be beat. America's voice is the place to be. Got Slick, Delgado, and of course Big D, the show to watch. LFS 6B, yeah, LFS6B. Big D looking good in his cowboy hat, always intrigued where David Sears at. Our main man Harry is certainly no slouch. Come on Harry, get the hell off the couch. America's voice is the place to be. Got Slick, Delgado, and of course Big D. The show to watch, LFS6B. Ooh yeah, LFS6B. If you want some fun along with good insight, tune in 8 to 10 weeknights. Plenty of merchandise to be had. The odds makers reveal whose picks are bad. Hello, America's voice is the place to be. Got Slick, Delgado, and of course Big D. The show to watch, LFS6B. Yeah, yeah, LFS6B. Look alive, it's time to stop. What you're doing, it's 8 o'clock. Friday night pizza show is on tap. LFS6B is where it's at. Whoa, oh. America's voice is the place to be. Got Slick, Delgado, and of course Big D. The show to watch, LFS6B. Yeah, yeah, LFS6B. Slick does sports and dresses to the nines. Big D loves when he says it's rodeo time. Delgado might wear the tinfoil hat, but we all love what even is that. Aaron and Fran always holding it down. We look forward to another crazy town. Kevin Downey Jr. fills another seat. His sharp wit and wisdom can't be beat.
What's going on, everybody?
America's voice is the place to be. Got Slick, Delgado, and of course Big D. The show to watch.
All right. How we doing? Good morning, good morning, good morning. A Thursday, November 14th, 10 o'clock on the East Coast. What's going on? Hey, I don't have my light on behind me. Hold on. And those who always ask you if I have a black hat, there it is. There's the black one. It's always here. What's going on? How's everybody doing? Good morning, Sue. Good morning, Becky. Good morning, Lydia. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Wait for some people to get in here. Rebecca on X, good morning from Kansas. Good morning. Good morning, Noran Wamister. I hope you are well. Say hello to Bill. Good morning, Kathleen. I am in studio tonight. My son had a playoff basketball game last night. So unfortunately, it was at 8:20 the game. So I was like really caught. Couldn't do the beginning, could barely do the end. Had to do the end from the parking lot. I jumped in for one segment with the guys. And on top of all that, we got crushed. Absolutely crushed by just a much more skilled team than we were last night. Looked like we never played basketball before. So it was a rough one. It was a rough one. Bonnie on Facebook, good morning. Great things are happening. Yes, I agree. Virginia on Facebook, good morning. Yeah, you don't win them all, Patrick. You're right. Carol on Facebook, good morning. Good morning. Did you hear the idiot Powell giving his worthless opinion on Trump's picks? Well, everybody's going to do that. I did not hear Powell. Powell should be more concerned about getting fired, as we discussed. I guess it was it here or was it on the night show? I don't know. We discussed it. Good morning, everybody who's here. YouTube, Facebook, X, Rumble, Getter, wherever you're watching. Come on in. I wish I could get the Getter chat on my my deal here, but unfortunately, I don't see the Getter chat. I don't know why Getter does not allow their chat to leave the platform, which is weird. So I should actually open the Getter chat here so I can actually see it. Good morning, P1 Firefighter. Michelle from Rhode Island on Facebook. Donna on Facebook. Good morning, everybody. Welcome on in. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe, whatever platform you're on. I was looking at our YouTube numbers. I think we're like 200 away from 16,000, which is at least a start. Love to grow that number to 100,000 or so. But I was looking at it, and I believe let's see here. How do I do this? There we go. 15,842. That's a live count. So if you subscribe right now, that number will go up. Can we get that number to 15? Can we get that to 16,000? I'll have to watch it over the course of this stream. Can we get the number to go to 16,000? We need 158 people who have not subscribed yet to the YouTube to hit the not subscribe or whatever, follow button, join, whatever just the free one is, just to hit the follow button. We need 158. 15,842. 16,000 is the next stop. Then 17, then 20, then 25, then 50, then 100. 15,843. Was it just 842? Did we just get one? Did we just get one? Did it just go to 15,843? Did I miss it? Can we see 15,844? Whoa. 15,845. We just grew by 2 more, and I appreciate that. And that's what we want. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll keep an eye on that throughout the stream. Let me throw that right over here so we can keep an eye on that. Many important things, though, to talk about today. Many important things to talk about, which we will get to. Ooh, 15,846. Very good. We will continue to watch that. I'll check back in on there. I appreciate that. See if we can get it to 16,000. Well, I woke up on X this morning. I started going through, looking at the day, what I wanted to talk about, and I was just feeling lost, and I couldn't figure out why that was. And then I realized Joy Reid and Don Lemon have left X, and I thought to myself, that's why. That's why I'm feeling so lost. No Don Lemon, no Joy Reid. What could I do? What should I do? What should I do? Don Lemon actually wrote a letter to these people. Who cares? Do they realize that nobody cares? Good morning, Sue on YouTube. Good morning, Rod on YouTube. He writes a letter and posts it on the platform that he's leaving to tell us he's leaving that platform. I mean, the ever growing self-importance of these people that they think is just stunning. Nobody cares that you're leaving. Nobody cares that you're shaving your head. Nobody cares that you're leaving X. Nobody cares. We do not care. All of you have been wrong about everything. Forever. We don't care. We don't care that you're leaving. We don't care what you think. Clarity, you don't have to subscribe. No cost. Just make sure you're following. Every platform has a free, just whatever they all call it different things. Some call it subscribe, some call it follow, some call it whatever. Just make sure you don't need. I don't want you to spend any money. I never want you to spend any money unless you're buying something from Mike Lindell. You don't need to spend any money. Just follow whatever the free version is. That's what I'm talking about. Every place calls it something different. That's why if some places to subscribe, yes, it does cost. So I don't want you to do that. Just follow or whatever. Anyways, yeah, it's just unbelievable, these people. The self-righteousness of them all. Like, I got to post a letter on X to tell them I'm leaving X. No, who cares? Just go. Get out. We're not going to miss you. You think people are going through their X feed going, oh, where's Don Lemon's thoughts this morning? Oh, please. No, nobody cares. Get out. Get out. We should talk a little bit about October PPI. Producers Price Index came out. Inflation is not going away, folks. It may not go back to 9%, 8%, 7%, 6%, something like that, but it's not going to 2%, at least not right now. Producers price inflation this morning, we find out, rises to 2.4% from the expectations of 2.3%. Core PPI rose to 3.1% off an expectation of a flat 3%. So both of them on the rise, with core inflation now around 3. Fed's target is 2. They've now cut 75 basis points over the last 3 months, whatever it's been. We'll see what happens at the next meeting, but the Fed still's got some work to do. And now with a new administration coming in who is certainly not going to be on board with higher rates for much longer, it is a real predicament. Whatever Trump feels about the Federal Reserve, it is a real predicament. You can't be cutting, you really don't want to be cutting rates into now inflating inflation or reigniting inflation, because that's just going to help it reignite even more. If monetary policy gets too loose, now obviously they're still tightening on the balance sheet, but yeah, that's a problem, and it's going to become Trump's problem on January 20th, whether it should be or not. It's going to be. And they're going to turn the tables on those first reports right out of the box and say, oh, look at this guy bringing inflation back already. Good job, everyone. This is what you voted for. That's going to happen. So they're going to have to walk a fine line here. Now, listen, if he's going to fire Powell on day one and then go through that fight and them saying he can't do it. And of course, I think we made the case, Daniel Horowitz made the case that what branch does Jerome Powell fall under? There's no fourth branch. There's no made up branch that he claims. He's not falling under. He's certainly not under the purview of the judicial branch. There's only one place realistically he falls, and that is under the purview of the executive branch, which gives the president constitutional authority to get rid of him. Now, they may fight that, may go to the courts. Here's the one thing I think we need to start thinking about going into this. Everything is going to go to the courts. Everything is going to go to the courts. And I was thinking this morning about how all of this is so interconnected on a level that I don't think most people think about. Trump's picks, CPI, PPI the last 2 days, spending, who Trump's picking, the courts, why he's picking these people. And I mean, let's just deal with the most obvious one, which I don't know how much the guys talked about last night, which obviously is the Gates thing. And I think I said this for the couple minutes I jumped on with them. Spare me the outrage about Matt Gaetz. spare me the outrage about Matt Gaetz, especially from Republicans who voted for the current attorney general, who voted for the current FBI director, who voted for all the current DOD, DOJ heads of all these departments, who have burned the house to the ground, who have weaponized all these departments. When you put people in who burn everything to the ground, you don't get to complain about who we've now hired to rebuild it and who he wants to use to rebuild it. I mean, it's just crazy. These people who have been responsible for lighting this thing on fire, pour the gas, watched it burn, watched all this weaponization, didn't care, did nothing about it, are now going to complain after the American people have loudly spoken to complain about who the next president wants to put in place to rebuild it and many other reasons he wants to put them there? That's why who cares what Andrew McCabe goes on MSNBC and says? Who cares what John Bolton goes on these places and said? Who cares what John Brennan or any of these people who were right there holding the matches for 4 years? Who cares what they have to say? They're the ones who put us in this position. They're the ones who put this to get to this spot. CNN, MSNBC, Joy Reid, New York Times, Andy McCabe. All these losers who go on these networks. Oh, this is the worst. This is the worst nomination I think I've ever seen. Oh, really? Yeah, spare me. Nobody cares. Axios has an article today. I think I pulled it up here. Where's the Axios? Yes, here's the Axios article. Behind the curtain. Oh, take you behind the curtain. Why Trump to pick Gaetz? President-elect Trump to pick Matt Gaetz for Attorney General for one big telling reason. Gaetz will proudly do the dirty work on controversial legal topics that others won't. That's why he picked Gaetz. Well, the American people picked him, remember. So it's not just President Trump that wants people to go in there and be a wrecking ball. The American people voted for the wrecking balls. The American people voted for this kind of change. The American people voted for the House to be rebuilt with different people in a historic way to do exactly this. People knew exactly what was coming. We all have eyes and ears. We've all watched War Room. We've all watched Real America's Voice. We've all watched all these people. We've all watched Dan Bongino. We've all watched Kash Patel on all these shows. We've read his book. We've seen him talk. Nobody is surprised by these appointments. As a matter of fact, most of us are going, exactly. Exactly. Playtime is over. We don't give a crap what some anonymous bureaucrat in some place in Washington, D.C., who's cowering in the corner going, oh, no, now what do we do? What they think. Nobody cares about what they think this morning about Matt Gaetz or about the, I'm assuming, upcoming Dan Bongino and upcoming Kash Patel appointments to something. Nobody cares what they think. The American people spoke. The American people had a chance to say, well, I don't know. Kind of knowing the road he may go down. Maybe we don't want to do that. No. Gaetz 42 is a wrecking ball. Exactly. Exactly. As I've said, what you see from the president's picks across the board is loyalty. That's what you see. And you see wrecking balls. And you see people who aren't going to be, let's see, what shall we say here? Are not going to be, I don't know, Jeff Sessions likes, who go in there, who seem great on paper, who seem great at the start, and then as soon as they get in there, they get rolled. Is there anybody Is there anybody that you think understands the need and how the tactics that is going to be needed to deal with these people better than Donald Trump? Get down in the mud. Look what's happened to me for 4 years. They tried to take me out in numerous ways, including actually take me out. Do you think that Donald Trump thinks, well, all I got to do is let me nominate some Washington insider, send them over to DOJ, and they're all just going to just roll over and play dead because I won? Really? Is that what people think? Is that what the Republicans in the Senate think? You think just because because President Trump wins, he can just nominate all your insider friends and go over there? No. President Trump needs ruthlessness. He needs people that would go in there like he would go in there. He needs people to go in there like he went on that video where the woman said, so now when you were talking about her, you were talking about her physical looks. And he says, well, yes, she does nothing for me. I look at you, you do nothing for me. Most people will not do that. That's the kind of ruthlessness that you need. Big D, you need to see this. I need to see what? Let me know what it is and I'll see it. But you also need to mix that ruthlessness with competence and an ability to play 4D chess. Because again, just because Matt Gaetz or Kash Patel or Dan Bongino are great to watch on TV and great to watch in these hearings and, can get people in front of them and do all kinds of snarky little stuff. And you go, hey, man, it's fun to watch. This guy's really good. This is not that. That does not equal going into the actual swamp and making changes. Your cute personality and quick wit on TV is not going to get the job done. President Trump understands that. You need to be loyal to him, number one, loyal to what he wants to do, number two. But you need to be really smart. You need to understand strategy really well. You need to understand the field you're playing on, and you better have brass knuckles in both pockets when you go in there. Because going in there and saying, hey, did you see me question Merrick Garland? I was pretty good, right? That's not going to get the job done. Oh, hello there. You want to come up? You want to be on TV? Hold on a second. Come on. Okay, you can come on. Fine. Now you broke my train of thought. Say hello to everybody. Say hello, everyone. Somebody is running the vacuum, and I'm very nervous. Yes. So, anyways, yeah, loyalty, yes, but you better understand what you're walking into because these people are not going to roll over. And again, think about 2016. I, for one, heard Jeff Sessions, thought, wow, good, strong. Jeff Sessions, everything I know about Jeff Sessions tells me he's a guy who can go in there. Backbone. Others, we can go back and remember. You can remember other people he put up that on paper and maybe based on what you have seen over the years thought really good, looked good, and went in and went actually in to the deep state, and what happened? Got absolutely rolled and made to look like fools. Made to look like fools. And as I said before, everything is going to, the court battles that we're going to see, and are you prepared to deal with that, is going to be also another big part of this. Every hiring he does, every firing he does, every executive order he gives, every orders that comes out of these places once these people if they get approved, Think about what Kash Patel wants to do. Think about what Matt Gaetz would want to do as far as firing, restructuring, all of this stuff. Think they're just going to, I mean, anybody who thinks they're just going to go, oh, okay. Anything I can do to help you, let me know. Those are battles, man. Those are going to be battles. You're going to be in the trenches like never before. That's what President Trump is thinking about today. I guarantee you. Him and his team, they're worried about, they're thinking about that. They're 4 steps ahead of everybody going, oh, Matt Gaetz, oh, Republicans. Here's where the Republicans are this morning. Oh, I know President Trump. I like him. I want to help him, but Matt Gaetz. This is how they'll look at Matt Gaetz. They're going to look at Matt Gaetz and they're going to say, well, he's definitely an appropriate kind of guy to respond to what we've seen for 4 years. I can see why President Trump wants to put him in there. But look what he did. He almost ruined the House. He da-da-da. Look what he did. He had no plan. He ousted Kevin McCarthy. We ended up getting Mike Johnson. We're not that much better off than we were. I don't know. Susan Collins is going to be a no. Lisa Murkowski is going to be a no. Mitch McConnell is going to be a no. We only got to get one more. Who else is not running for re-election that's willing to undertake the wrath that they're going to get from Trump and get a primary run that's going to be funded from Elon Musk? You think they can't find somebody? Bet you they can. But I have a good feeling that I don't think President Trump is thinking that that's the fight that he's going to fight. I don't think that's the fight that they're gearing up for. And I could be wrong. But something tells me that the old-fashioned way of doing things is maybe not the way that the Trump team is sitting around trying to strategically figure out how to get what the president wants. That would be my guess. And again, going back to where I started on PPI, CPI, spending, Elon, what him and Vivek are going to do, what Trump's trying to do right now. The government spending is kind of like intertwined into all of this. It's the spending that has allowed these 3-letter agencies and these government bloated, unconstitutional administrative state continually gotten bigger, more powerful, and bigger over the years. Their whole philosophy, the whole worldview of some of these spots, it's all because of the spending. So when you look at what President Trump is doing with Elon and Vivek, don't forget how tied in that really is to what he's doing with Gates, with these other departments. Because when you tear down the departments, you also need to tear down the spending, because one is a symptom of the other. And one is really the disease that's caused all the other ones to get sick. So as they're working on that, you're trying to reform these places. It's all connected. Because once you dismantle the spending, then a lot of the other stuff is going to follow, just naturally going to follow. So it's not just to look at what President Trump is doing and think about the personalities. And on just a very superficial level, can they get approved or not? Look at in totality the big picture, I think, of how they're looking at this. I don't think there's any doubt about why Elon and Vivek have been given a time frame of 1.5 years or 2 years, whatever it is. Because I think within that time, if you cut the spending hand in hand with reforming the rot that is so prevalent in all these places, one is really going to help accelerate the other one, I would suspect. Because the spending is just a symptom of the disease. And the disease is this ever-bloated, unconstitutional, iron-fisted, unelected bureaucrats who work in the shadows, who have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and more powerful over the years. I'm looking at Fox News in front of me. Reports Scott Bessent is still the top pick for Treasury Secretary. This is the guy who we saw who's been on with Bannon a lot, tied to Soros. People seemingly are worried about that, but maybe willing to get by it. I think partly because they think Trump must know him pretty well. Bannon knows him pretty well. And how can you do worse than what we have now? You can't. And I think he would, and I'm not suggesting that he would even be resembling what we have now at Treasury. By the way, I think you're going to see Linda McMahon, maybe at Commerce. She was at the Small Business Administration, under the Trump first administration. She's fantastic, strong, brilliant. But the real question is, what's the big one today? What is the big surprise today? And I know everybody's got Bongino picked at Secret Service, but could we get a shocker and Bongino goes to the FBI instead? I don't know where that would leave Kash Patel. Maybe with him. Maybe it's 1-2 or 2-1, or maybe they're flip. I mean, who knows? One's the top, one's the second in command, or they flip. I don't. Is that the shocker that we get today? I know everybody just thinks Bongino, with his background, perfect. He's mentioned it. I'm ready to go, sir. Secret Service. But does Trump flip the script here? And does Bongino go to the FBI? Or does Kash Patel go there? You're seeing chatter about the fact that if you were shocked on Gates, hold on to your buckles because we're not done yet. Things like that. I mean, I don't. That doesn't really mean anything to me. But people trying to get traffic and clicks. But would not surprise me if we get another earthshaker today. But I do think we're still going to get solid picks. I think you're going to get the Treasury pick. If it is this guy Bessent, then that's who it's going to be. I haven't even heard any other names thrown around there. Larry Fink is not leaving BlackRock. I can tell you that. Plus, I think he might be more controversial than Bessent, who's at least 10 years removed from his time with Soros, and seems certainly more than competent. The guy seems like everything I've heard the guy say, there's nothing to even disagree with. The guy's got it. What does it mean, Damon, that Bannon already named Cash director of FBI? I don't know what it means. I haven't seen that officially. I think Bongino's happy where he's at. I don't think he really wants to go back to the swamp. That might be true too, Kathleen. I think it's hard to turn down this president if you're him and the relationship they have, if he comes to you and says, Dan, your country needs you. I think it's hard for him to say no. I think it's hard for anybody who has a relationship with Trump to say no, given the state of the country, given what he's gone through to try to make the country great again. How do you say no? I think it would be hard for him to say no if he's asked formally. I think he would take it. As much as I think he loves his gig. They just shut down InfoWars. I've seen a little bit of it. Looks like the Onion picked it up out of bankruptcy. Is that what I'm seeing? The left-wing Onion, supported by the families of Sandy Hook, Connecticut families. I think that's what I saw. I've seen Dan say he doesn't want the gig, but would advise. Yeah, I think publicly, I wouldn't take what they publicly say as anything more than what they're publicly saying. I think when the president looks you in the eye and says, Dan, your country needs you. We got 4 years. This is my last hurrah. I think it's hard to say no. think it's hard to say no. But anyways, the point of going through all that is, again, it's all intertwined. It's all intertwined. And that's why it's not really just about who the people are. It's about the whole strategy behind who the people are. That's the wrong. What is... Someone says he's on Bannon right now. Who's on Bannon right now? Bum, 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 bum. Let's go to War Room.
Number wavered, but I could give out. We are at a 10th of a tank in the fight, in the battle. If we were a F-18, where we just knocked out massive enemy forces, but we've got to land again, get fuel, and reloaded in the info war. So people are waiting on the tarmac when we land, or use the NASCAR analogy, we're 3, links or 3 laps ahead of the guys, and there's only 5 laps left, but the engine's on fire. And I'm coming into the pit stop. They got to get the tires on. They got to get the gas in the engine. They got to fire extinguisher the engine before the belts melt off. And then I'll put this son of a bitch back on the road and drive it in to the checkered flag. But now is the time to come to the aid of your country as we turn the tide, as we have the initiative, as we're winning. You've got to back warroom.org. You've got to back the operation we're launching with the Alex Jones Network. This is critical. They are desperate. And this is the time that tries men's souls. This is not the time for the summer patriots, but the winter soldiers. And it's just so amazing. So everybody, tell everybody, bat signal, AlexJones.network, RealAlexJones.com, AlexJones.live, and follow us on the Mighty X with the incredible game changer, Elon Musk. Bannon, you just sign off whenever you want, at least 3 minutes, so I can get Harrison Smith in here to take over, where I'll find out more, and then I will come back. But thank you for coming on. It was meant in the stars to happen.
I tell you what, we're going to jump, but as soon as you get back, find out the information, and we'll have...
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. All right, so let's talk about what I'm saying when I say I don't think the president is... I don't think that may be the fight they're gearing up for. I tweeted this yesterday. Let's talk about this a little bit. Article 2, Section 2, Clause 3 of the United States Constitution. It reads as follows: the president shall have the power to fill up all vacancies that may happen during the recess of the Senate by granting commissions which shall expire at the end of their next session. The recess appointments clause, authorizing the president to make temporary appointments when the Senate is not in session, was adopted by the Constitutional Convention without dissent and without debate regarding the intent and scope of its terms. In the Federalist, number 67, and Alexander Hamilton refers to the recess appointment power as nothing more than a supplement for the purpose of establishing an auxiliary method of appointment in cases to which the general method was inadequate. It is generally accepted that the clause was designed to enable the president to ensure the unfettered operation of the government during periods when the Senate was not in session, we'll get to that and what that would mean, and therefore unable to perform its advice and consent function. In addition to fostering administrative continuity, presidents have exercised authority under the Recess Appointments Clause for political purposes, appointing officials who might have difficulty securing Senate confirmation. So let's talk about a couple things about this. President Trump talked about this last week, maybe a couple weeks ago. By urging the incoming GOP Senate majority to embrace recess appointments to install members of his cabinet, President-elect Trump is, in effect, asking his party to unilaterally surrender a major constitutional responsibility and key check on presidential power. And that, of course, is the way that they'll frame it. Article 2 of the Constitution gives a president authority to make appointments by and with the advice and consent of the Senate, which typically must hold hearings on a candidate and take a vote to confirm. Installing members of the cabinet or executive branch when the Senate is out of session bypasses those steps. The fact that recess appointments have emerged as an early litmus test in the race for Senate GOP leader, well, we now know that's over. And we certainly didn't get somebody who we can say, yeah, right on, here we go. We got a McConnellite, which is a disaster in my opinion, but could be an indication that at least some of Trump's expected nominees will be highly controversial and potentially unconfirmable. During Trump's first term, members of his own party openly opposed some of his appointments, forcing nominations to be withdrawn and reissued. While many Republicans in the past have protested recess appointments as a brazenly political end run around the Senate, the practice is neither unprecedented nor unconstitutional. And that's the part you need to remember, because all the other framing of it is just that: political, ideological nonsense from the loser class, who now finds themselves on the short end of the stick. And they'll frame it as a run around the Senate and an affront to the Constitution and an abuse of power. You should always remember that you should be framing it in your head as very tactical when dealing with people who play with brass knuckles. You should play as well. Bill Clinton made 139 recess appointments while in the White House. George W. Bush made 171. Barack Obama made 32, according to the Congressional Research Service. In most of those cases, the Senate was controlled by the opposite party. The U.S. Supreme Court in 2014 decision NLRB versus Noel Channing gave the executive branch broad leeway to fill executive branch vacancies when the Senate is not in session, even for political purposes such as difficulty securing Senate confirmation. The court laid out guidelines for the process in Canning, noting that the Senate is in recess when it says it is, and that the Constitution requires that recess to last 10 days or more for the president to be able to fill an open seat. So the Senate must go out for 10 days or more, and the Senate leadership can just decide that. That's why, again, quote, when it says it is, it is. One significant wrinkle is that a vote of the House is also necessary to approve an adjournment of 10 days or more. So again, you need Mike Johnson on board with this plan. And we've talked a lot about Mike Johnson. Some of us has wondered why the president gives him this seemingly unending support, given what we've seen from Mike Johnson. And I would argue, as I argued then, that I don't think we're any better off now than we were with Kevin McCarthy. I'd argue him probably worse, but that's neither here nor there right now. But here's another situation with Mike Johnson being reelected yesterday, with the approval of the president and an endorsement from the president. You have to wonder if this was part of their discussion. The Constitution's adjournment clause says neither chamber should be out of session for more than 3 days without consent of the other. Any of Trump's appointees successfully installed during a recess would have the same legal authority and pay as a Senate-confirmed appointee. That said, a recess appointment is temporary, expiring at the end of the Senate's next session, which effectively would give them 2 years. There's no bar on successive recesses appointments of the same or different person to a particular position, though it remains a contested legal question whether an individual installed twice during recesses could continue to be paid according to CRS. So a little bit harder of a look from the Heritage Foundation, which is certainly going to look at it from a more constitutional point of view. Because I want you to understand this. And again, I could be way off. But just looking at this, it would not surprise me. I mean, they have to be. Nobody cares about feelings at this point. President Trump has to know, with people like, I'm sure, Steve Bannon and others advising him on what he's up against within his own party. Let me just hold on. Let's see. Okay, no, that's nothing. If I get anything I want to tell you, I'll let you know on my phone. Phone's blowing up all day long with stuff. I just can't imagine they're going to go into this thinking that, yeah, we'll just take the old normal routes. We'll just take all the normal old routes, put our people up, and then we'll wait for Lindsey Graham and Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski and Mitch McConnell to tell us what they think. If that's what they're doing, then, I mean, you get what you get. I cannot imagine that that's what they're thinking about. And I think the nominations speak for themselves. And they tell you they don't give a crap what Mitch McConnell is going to have to say, because I think they're looking at this. This is the playbook. So this article goes back to the Trump's first term, but it lays out the situation that very likely will play out right now. And they said President Trump expressed frustration Wednesday that the Senate had not confirmed his pending nominees to various posts. This is back when he first was president in 2016. And he said then, the president said, the current practice of leaving town while conducting phony pro forma sessions and a dereliction of duty that the American people cannot afford during this crisis, Trump told reporters. The president warned that if the House does not agree to let the Senate adjourn, then he would exercise his constitutional authority to adjourn both chambers of Congress. Focus on that. He said this back then. I guarantee you this is what they're talking about now. I will exercise my constitutional authority to adjourn both chambers of commerce and make recess appointments for more than 100 pending nominees, especially those related to the handling of the COVID-19 pandemic and its economic aftermath. That raises an interesting question. Does the president have the power to adjourn the Senate and then make recess appointments? The answer is maybe, if the circumstances fit the relevant provisions of the Constitution cited by Trump, the adjournment clause in Section 3, Article 2. The Constitution does allow the president to temporarily fill what it calls vacancies that may happen during the recess of the Senate without Senate approval. Trump could do that if the Senate was in a single extended recess, if it was adjourned. And again, remember the first article, the Senate is adjourned when it says it is adjourned. And it must be out for 10 days. So in this case, back then, it was not out of session. Because of a quirky constitutional provision, the Senate actually has been in a series of short 3-day recesses set to end May 3rd. That doesn't qualify. It needs to be 10 days. Supreme Court said so in 2014. The High Court held that a Senate recess or adjournment has to be at least 10 days before the president may make recess appointments. The adjournment clause says that the president, quote, may, on extraordinary occasions, which anyone playing along here would certainly say that this is an extraordinary occasion, convene both houses or either of them, and in the case of disagreement between them with respect to the time of adjournment, he may adjourn them to such time as he shall think proper. Article 1, Section 5 of the Constitution requires the permission of the other house when one of the two chambers wants to adjourn for more than 3 days. So do you see here, do you see the chess game that must be going on? I would bet is going on between now Thune, Johnson, and Trump. The Democrat-controlled House, this is back then, refuses to give that permission, forcing the Senate to hold pro forma sessions in which nothing happens other than one senator gaveling in the Senate and gaveling it back out. The lawmakers conduct no business and confirm no pending nominations. Well, that's not the situation today. We hold both. We control both. What the president cannot do on his own is override the pro forma sessions, declare that the Senate is not really in session and then make recess appointments. That is what the Noel Canning case was all about. President Barack Obama made recess appointments to the National Labor Relations Board during a pro forma session, meaning not 10 days. The Supreme Court said that the Senate is in session when it says it is, provided that under its own rules, it retains the capacity to transact Senate business. It is not up to the president to decide when the Senate is in session. They decide. But if there were a disagreement between the Senate and the House on adjournment, could the president adjourn both houses and set a new time to convene? The answer to that is yes. The adjournment clause actually was mentioned in the Noel Canning decision in discussions about the problems faced by a president whose nominations are stalled in the Senate. In his majority opinion, Justice Stephen Breyer cited the adjournment clause as the provision in the Constitution that, quote, gives the president, if he has enough allies in Congress, a way to force a recess. Bingo. In the concurring opinion written by Justice Antonin Scalia, joined by Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito, Scalia pointed out, quote, members of the president's party in Congress may be able to prevent the Senate from holding pro forma sessions with the necessary frequency, and if the House and Senate disagree, the president may be able to adjourn both to such time as he shall think proper. And I would think he would think properly about, 11 days. How about 11 days? That sounds pretty proper to me. There wasn't a single dissenting justice. And that's important, by the way, because people are going to say, the Supreme Court's going to jump right in here and stop Trump. There wasn't a single dissenting justice that this is the way it would work. So all 9 justices of the Supreme Court agreed that the president could use the adjournment clause to force an adjournment long enough to make recess appointments. There you go. Most important thing of the whole thing. As long as there is a disagreement between the Senate and the House on when to adjourn. So there's your second part. So you need Thune and you need Speaker Johnson to navigate this. The justices also agreed that the president's power to make recess appointments applies to both an intersession recess, meaning breaks between formal sessions of the Senate, and intra-session recesses, meaning breaks in the midst of a formal session of a substantial length. So obviously we'd be looking at the first one. The Senate is equally away and unavailable to participate in the appointments process during both an intra-session and an intra-session recess. For the president to use the adjournment clause to adjourn Congress for the 10 days needed to make recess appointments, there needs to be a formal disagreement between the Senate and the House. The Senate could pass a motion of adjournment for at least 10 days. Under Senate Rule 22, such a motion isn't debatable. So it requires only a simple majority vote. Thus, as long as Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell could keep his caucus together, and that's a big if in this whole thing, that is a big if. That is the big stumbling block with this plan. Because God knows we've got some pathetic people in the Senate. Minority Leader Chuck Schumer would not be able to filibuster the motion. There's also no doubt that Schumer would not agree to unanimous consent, so McConnell would have to call all the senators back to Washington for this vote. That approved adjournment would then need to be formally transmitted to the House. If Speaker Pelosi refused to act on it, would that be considered a case of disagreement sufficient to satisfy the appointments clause? We do not know because the provision never has been invoked. So there you go. You get the idea of what I think the Trump team is thinking about. That is the road I believe they're thinking about. And by the way, if they're not, why not?
/ban and end of the dollar empire. Remember, we don't want to see the end of the dollar empire. We're explaining to you how the elites in this country are doing it. That's what you have to understand. But more importantly for you and your personal, whether it's an IRA, 401k, all of it, Philip, Patrick, and the team are there to talk to you and to guide you through this. And they got all kind of information, pamphlets, and tons of great stuff. So go to birchgold.com/Bandit and talk to Philip, Patrick, and the team. Also, I'm very concerned always about your home. 90% of your net worth's tied up in this. Make sure no one can get to your title. If they get to your title, they're going to take out a second mortgage. It's either sell the home or take a second mortgage out. And you're not going to get out of paying that second mortgage back because the hard money lenders or the bank do not want to hear your tale of woe. They said, hey, it sounds like a personal problem. You should have taken care of that before. Well, home title lock.
All right. We'll come back to Steve and see if so has anyone heard anybody else talking about this in the detail that we're talking about it? I'm interested what everybody thinks about this. Anyone else heard this? Or am I fooling myself that this is possibly where we're going? What's everybody heard? Slick Rick in the chat. What's going on, Slickster? Sandy says, I have not. Haven't heard any details about plans. No, but thank you for telling us. I have heard this, but not in this detail. Big D, as long as we get there. Damon, so far you're the only one. Both those articles, by the way, are on our X. If you want to read them a little in more detail. I would really be surprised if we don't hear about oh, he loves when he hears the vacuum. You love to hear the vacuum, huh? Say hello to everybody. Say hello to everybody. Say, I am the most handsome guy in the whole world. No, the dog's not camera shy. He's he's vacuum shy though. He thinks it's coming in here for him. It's the only thing he gets a little jumpy about is the vacuum. When he can't see, you know what's funny? He can't, when he sees the vacuum, he's not nearly as jumpy, but when he just hears it through the door, because I have the door to the studio locked, when he hears it, he gets more nervous than if he actually saw it running. Then he doesn't get, he just stays away from it, but he doesn't get, so he won't run to you like pick me up, get me off the ground. But he will when he just hears it like he just did. Right? You're funny like that. You're funny like that. But you're a good boy. My husky won't walk by one. Yeah, it's so funny. Well, James, I can't say that anyone would think you're going out on a limb there, given who we're dealing with. You heard that? You see that comment right there? Read it. What's it say? It says you're pretty cute. You're pretty cute. He's got his tick and flea collar. He's got his regular collar. And then he's got his electric fence. because you like to dig under the fence and get out. And now you're not going to do that because you get a little zip. That's why he's got 3 on. Because he likes to get out and play in the front yard and go down the street. Yeah. Sue, he was an escape artist a couple times. He's an escape artist into the backyard, into the neighbor's yard, who has 2 big dogs. He escaped into the front yard, into the neighbor's yard, who have a dog. So thankfully he stopped over there and sniffing around, probably looking for the dogs. Thankfully he stopped. And then one day he dug out and actually did start running. And thankfully ran down a little path that ended with a fence that blocked him. So he couldn't get out, couldn't keep going. And he was kind of trapped in there. So I was able to get him back. But you tried. Those are like the 3 times he got out. And then we said, enough. Now we're going to shock your ass. And you're going to stay right here. Right? That's right. Let's see. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much what I wanted to go over. Put Tucker in Delgado's chair wearing a cowboy hat. Press secretary, that's another big one. I'm still pulling for Scott Jennings. But he's got a lot of good choices there as well. I did see this, which I think you'll get a good kick out of.
Are you distraught after the recent presidential election? Here at Don't Cry Cryo, we understand your pain, and we're here to help. Our expert team of cryogenic care providers can cryogenically freeze you until the Trump presidency has ended. No more crying, no more anxiety attacks, just blissful sleep until Trump is gone. When you awaken from your slumber, we'll even have a party ready and waiting for you. It will be like his presidency never even happened. It was all just a bad dream. As an added bonus, you can choose the Vance add-on package. We'll extend your sleep for an additional 4 years at a 50% discount in the event J.D. Vance wins the next presidential election. Everything will be okay. We're here to take care of you in your time of need. So remember, don't cry, cryo.
Yeah. Exactly.
Where am I?
I thought that was pretty funny. One thing I didn't get to, but I'll just put it up. You can go read it yourself over at Just the News. J6 shocker. Phone companies dispute FBI testimony on pipe bombs. Suspect. Key lawmaker reveals the new revelations heighten the mystery. And scrutiny of the FBI surrounding one of the most disturbing security failures on the day of the Capitol riot. This is also on our X if you want to go read it, from John Solomon. Let's see what Steve's talking about. Opening up hour 2. We playing a package here? Yeah. Let's listen to this.
Were applying for a judicial appointment. They talked about their vaunted legal theories and constitutional BS. We have a graphic of this. Gates was the only one who said, yeah, I'll go over there and start cutting effing heads. That is according to a Trump advisor. Again, that was from reporter Mark Caputo. So cutting effing heads, what does that tell you about what kind of Attorney General Matt Gaetz would be?
Well, I think it tells you all you need to know. Look, if Trump was trying to send shockwaves through official Washington, he succeeded. Gates was not on anybody's short list. And from my perspective, it shouldn't be that surprising. Look, Trump campaigned on this platform that he was going to shake up DOJ, he was going to turn it upside down, he was going to clean house, et cetera, et cetera. And from that perspective, Matt Gaetz is arguably a very logical choice. I think it is going to be difficult to get him confirmed. I think that there are a lot of Republicans who either publicly or privately harbor serious doubts about this nomination.
Many of you have reached out to us since the election.
Here we go with an unreasonable
Many were
take.
disappointed by the results. You've let us know you appreciated our reporting and the reporting of those results in a calm and measured way.
Yeah, we have been especially thankful for the kind words we've received from those who voted for President Trump. And we're going to continue our best efforts to be fair and objective in reporting on the incoming administration.
Now, unfortunately, the next story does involve us personally a bit, but we still give you the facts while remaining objective.
So here they are. President-elect Donald Trump has selected Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida to serve as Attorney General and lead the Department of Justice. If confirmed by the Senate, he would head the department he has in the past called to be shut down.
Beautiful.
I don't care if it takes every second of our time and every ounce of our energy. We either get this government back on our side or we defund and get rid of, abolish the FBI, CDC, ATF, DOJ, every last one of them if they do not come to heel. And I don't think it's too much to ask.
Also, if confirmed, Gaetz would lead the department that once investigated him for sex trafficking. In late 2020, the FBI started investigating allegations that Gaetz was involved in the trafficking of a 17-year-old girl. At the core of the case was testimony from a former Gaetz associate who is now serving an 11-year prison sentence for several federal crimes, including sex trafficking. But the investigation into Gaetz ended in February of 2023 with no charges filed. Gaetz abruptly announced he was resigning from Congress yesterday after Trump posted the AG nomination on social media. Multiple media outlets reported yesterday the House Ethics Committee was set to vote this week on releasing a report about him. Quoting from the Washington Post, Gaetz has been under investigation by the bipartisan committee for allegations that he may have engaged in sexual misconduct, illegal drug use, and accepted improper gifts.
So if Trump keeps doing this, there's two direct impacts. Number one, he is losing his House Republican majority. It's crazy to say that. He is going to nominate the House Republicans into the minority if he's not careful. Mike Johnson said last night, I told him it's enough already. You can't keep nominating House Republicans for administration positions or else we will be in the minority and you will no longer have all branches of government. That's number one. Number two, if he puts forward these picks that are so problematic, it's going to just eat up valuable Senate time. And a lot of Republicans complained that the first 100 days of the last Trump administration were wasted. And that is true. They didn't get much done in those first 100 days, and they want to take advantage of these 100 days. If you waste your time on stunts like this, you're going to just be really behind the 8 ball in getting an actual agenda enacted, which he may or may not care about. But traditional presidents would care about that.
You know, nightmare with me. How much damage could he theoretically do?
I mean, it's sickening to think that this person could be in charge of all of the different things that affect Americans across the board. You know, our civil rights. What's he going to do when hate crimes happen? What's he going to do when we have the rise of hate across the country that we're seeing every single day, even more so now when some of these people are emboldened to carry out these acts? What's going to happen in that situation? What's going to happen with checks and balances when someone in the administration tries to skirt the rule of law?
Oh, they're interested in checks and balances.
Those were numerous situations that happened during my tenure in the White House, during my tenure in the Trump administration. There were even things that where Bill Barr held the line, right? There were other people in the room. So we don't have that. So picture this. Now it's Matt Gaetz sitting in the Situation Room having these debates on.
Another person who was in the Trump administration sitting with Joy Reid talking like this. How does this person ever get in? And you wonder why he's picking who he's picking now.
And I think Glenn is right. I've worked with a lot of the people at DOJ and the people that serve in the FBI under DOJ. I mean, this is just really alarming, and I wonder whether there'll be mass resignations, and that really actually worries me even more so, because what does that department look like going forward?
Yeah, we want the mass resignation, so let's get on that. We're gonna have okay.
Exactly.
We're gonna have mass declassification of documents. We're gonna have mass deportations of illegal alien invaders, and we're gonna have mass resignations. Go ahead. Permission granted. Resign, baby. Take all your kind with you. All of it. Let's roll.
Exactly.
No whinging.
Bye-bye.
It's amazing what a lack of what's been interesting to see is how they are like spoiled children. This comes from the credential class. They've really never had to work for anything. They've never had tough jobs. They've never had to sacrifice anything. And
they think we care.
How they it's the typical kids that get the soccer trophies for coming in last, but you get a participation trophy. So the participation crowd doesn't know how to handle things. One thing we know is that in throwing the toys out of the pram, that they have abandoned MSNBC and CNN. I think the most coverage of Morning Mika is getting now is obviously with the War Room, because we love Morning Mika. But they're not handling this well, and that's great, because they have one of the most smartest articles I saw. It said, hey, for years they handled their voters as groups and not as individuals, didn't talk to them as people about what their aspirations were and how they wanted to get, what their journey through this life was going to be like, and how in making a society more productive, you can make it wealthier and spread that wealth out to people, so that you had a capitalist system with every man a capitalist, every woman too. They didn't do that. And you see this kind of, was it in Kuwait, this whole discussion, we monitor it pretty closely. They have hard work. They have a decade or more, because I've said for years and years and years, we've had this civil war on our side of the table, and now we're dominant and ascendant with President Trump. But the war we've had between the grassroots and the grassroots conservatives and the Tea Party against the established order, the Republicans, the rhinos, the money, the lobbyists, the donors, we haven't totally won. Let me go back to the Financial Times. Republicans snubbed Trump allies by electing Thune as leader. That was a loss. And Cornyn's out there right now saying he's got to go through that report on Matt Gaetz in detail in the process. Cornyn's out there. Everybody in Texas, remember it. Cornyn, you either get with the program, brother, or you're going to finish third in your primary. That I guarantee you. People in Texas are not going to tolerate this. Same way we didn't tolerate you guys trying to turf out, you personally trying to turf out Paxton. Jeff Clark, your thoughts and observations, sir. You were a senior under one of the worst attorney generals, Bill Barr. You were one of the senior folks over justice in a Justice Department that never got its act together from the Barr perspective. You did a great job. Tell us what the meaning and purpose of the Gaetz nomination to be Attorney General of the United States is, sir.
I think that the nomination of Matt Gaetz to be Attorney General is truly inspired, Steve. It's an excellent pick. It shows President Trump's visionary nature, and it shows that President Trump needs to pick and knows how to pick leaders, right? And, I'm going to try to outdo you a little bit here on your erudition. I heard you talking about the Bonhomme Richard with John Paul Jones. I've just begun to fight. So what I want to talk about in terms of Matt Gaetz, and he really does remind me of this, is the St. Crispin's Day speech from Shakespeare's Henry V, right before the Battle of Agincourt, where the British are, massively outnumbered by the French, but they wind up pulling off a massive victory. It's just a very inspiring speech. It's got this famous line of, we few, we happy few, we band of brothers. That's the kind of inspiration that Matt Gaetz can give to the Justice Department to lead it into a new era, and a new era of cleaning out the institution, which is infected in various, different ways, putting it back on the straight and narrow, putting the FBI back on the straight and narrow, working with President Trump's future nominee to head the FBI and get rid of Christopher Wray. And, who is St. Crispin, right? He is the patron saint. He was a weaver. And what's been weaved over the last 4 years, and even, under President Trump by traitors inside the Justice Department, a lot of lies, a lot of schemes like Russiagate. But what Matt Gaetz is going to help lead is to weave it back into a consistent fabric, a fabric of American law, a fabric of equal protection of the laws, Steve. And I just could not be more over the moon about the inspired nature of President Trump's pick in tapping Matt Gaetz to head up that department that, I've spent so much of my career in.
This is the difference between Harvard College and Harvard Business School. Clark is actually educated. I want to go to that speech from Shakespeare, Henry V, because I think for the audience, and maybe even a more phrase is when he talks about those who are not here in the battlefield with us will regret this for the rest of their lives, right? Remember they say that line, I think it predicates it's the lead into the Band of Brothers. What he says is that those that sleep, I think in safe beds or whatever, that are not here in the battlefield with us will regret this the rest of their lives, because this is a unique moment in history of English history. Is that not correct, Jeff?
That is correct, Steve. And one of the other aspects of the speech that I'd call to your attention, it sounds a lot like a Steve Bannon, right? And I can also hear it coming from a Matt Gaetz, like, don't let the door hit you on the way out. He says to the troops, look, if you want out of here, if you don't want to fight this battle with me because you think the odds are too high, I'll pay your freight to get back to England. And so just go. And, you can imagine if there's a commander like that and he's telling you that, look, you're going to regret this for your entire life if you do that, but I'll facilitate you leaving us if you really are cowardly like that. But I'm calling on you to realize that what's going to happen in future St. Crispin's Day after we win this battle with a smaller group, and then if there's a smaller group, we're all going to get more honor, is when people come to St. Crispin's Day, you're going to roll up your sleeves and you're going to show them your battle scars of these are the scars that I got on St. Crispin's Day.
That's exactly what this moment is. That's exactly what this moment is. This moment is a unique time in history for this republic. And it's going to go one way or the other. Yes.
All right. Looks like Steve's going to go to commercial here. I didn't see a lot of the first hour, but I'm a little surprised that we're not getting more talk about how does he plan to get Gaetz through. I mean, is there anybody who thinks that Gaetz is just going to get through the normal way? Like, I mean, even with all the political capital Trump has, is there anybody who thinks he has enough political capital dealing with the lamos we have in the Senate, like Collins, Murkowski, McConnell, to get Gaetz through on a straight up and down? I just can't imagine they're going into that like this. Natalie Winters says Biden's deputy national security advisor, Ann Neuberger, is trying to burrow in, go from political appointee to civil servant, to lead the internal resistance against the incoming Trump administration. Fetterman. There have been serious qualified individuals nominated to posts like Rubio or Stefanik. Eric Schmidt would be a solid choice for AG, but Dem opinions on Gaetz aren't that interesting. The good ones will come from my GOP colleagues to justify a vote for that jerk off. Oh, God. Fetterman says Trump is engaged in God-tier level of trolling to own the libs. I actually saw that clip last night. It made me chuckle. Upwards of 10 GOP senators will not vote to confirm Matt Gaetz for Attorney General, says Senator Richard Blumenthal. Well, who the hell is going to take anything he says as, again, while they're all focused on the traditional way, again, I don't know. I'll probably be proven to sound like an idiot, which is not really hard to do. But while they're all focused on the old traditional, can we get 4 people to? The only thing that makes me think that this is not going to happen is Thune with the Thune election, because he's such a McConnellite that he just wouldn't have it in him. He just wouldn't have it in him to partake in this because he's just so without backbone. So soft. So soft. It's the only thing that worries me. But I find it almost impossible to believe that they're nominating Gaetz. And if Trump really does want him, and there's not some other thing going on here where it's just some way to get him out of the house and, I don't know, some other 4D chess thing that I'm not thinking of. If Trump really wants him at AG, there's no way they're going into this thinking that, oh, yeah, we're just going to put him up for vote like we would anybody else at any other time and hope he gets in. I just... They're not worried that Matt Gaetz isn't qualified. He is far more qualified than, for instance, Jeff Sessions, who idiotically recused himself from the Russiagate investigation without even requesting to see any evidence. They're worried that Gaetz will tear down their fiefdoms. As for the so-called conservatives who are clutching their pearls, the Gaetz nomination serves as an excellent litmus test for weeding these people out. How can anyone who has witnessed the past 4 years be more concerned about whether Gaetz has paid his dues to Washington, D.C. than about dismantling... Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is exactly what we've talked about all morning. Repost. But again, this is why I find it hard to believe that this is what they're gonna put their hopes in. If Trump really wants him there, I don't think they're looking at that. We're gonna know quick enough. We're gonna know. You'll start to see more talk about it. I'm shocked you don't see more talk about it now. And if there is, I'm not seeing it. And certainly it sounds like you guys are not seeing it either. Bill O'Reilly selecting Matt Gaetz as Attorney General is a giant middle finger to the Justice Department. Gaetz will be a wrecking ball in there, pretty much dismantling the entire apparatus. He'll nuke the swamp rather than just drain it. Yeah, and Trump understands that. He understands that these people even are not going to just roll over, even if you put your quote-unquote people in there. You know, he could have put up, I don't know, who, you know, no matter who he puts up, whether it was Whitaker, Gaetz, Pullman, who I wanted, Bailey, whoever it was, there was no way they weren't going to just walk in there and everybody was going to roll over and go, okay, here you go. The place is yours. Look at what Natalie Winters just talked about. They're going to be burying themselves in there. They're going to be. President Trump understands what he needs. What was this comment? Damon, I was wondering if you had any problems with YouTube when talking about anything with stolen elections. Rumble is great, but their analysis suck. Any recommendations on what to do? I mean, we have problems with all kinds of stuff. Music, talk about medicine, science, vaccines, elections. I mean, I love Rumble, but I think I shared this. It's probably too far back to go back, but I saw Rasmussen post. He in a single month he put up the same videos on YouTube as he did on Rumble. Same videos, same days, all the same videos for the month. I think it was like 114 videos. I think for the month on YouTube, Rasmussen made $16,000. On Rumble, they made $140. I mean, you know, places got to survive somehow. And if you're building these channels, everything today lives off of ads. I know people don't like the ads. And again, we don't control the content of the ads that get served because they get served in a digital world where it goes by where you live, where your zip code is, and whoever placed that ad, whatever they said. Hey, we want people that are 50 plus and over. That's the only thing we're going to say. Anybody who's 50 and over fits the bill for this ad. This is our ad about trans, whatever. Well, who do you want to see it? Anyone who's 50 and over. That's our only. So when they present it that way, and then you're 50 and over and you get the ad and you go, why is this serving to me? I don't want to see this crap. Because the advertiser gave them one thing that they needed to fulfill for the ad to be served, and that was that you're 50 and over. That's it. So you can love Rumble. I love Rumble. And they've made it much easier to go live there, which is great, which was one of my first complaints. It took half an hour to set up a live stream. Now it's 1, 2, 3, easy. Don't even have to do anything. Just turn it on. They made it so you can just do it, which is great. But you can't do anything. You can't do anything. You can't monetize it. There's just no way you just can't seem to build it unless you're. I mean, Bongino's obviously built something there. Nobody else is able to do anything. I don't know how many followers Rasmussen has over there, but how are you going to argue with somebody not to go off of just go to Rumble when that's the results for the month? That's a tough sell. I'm sure he is privately. I would hope privately. I haven't heard Mark too much this week, so I don't know if he's talked about this or at least yesterday after the Gates thing came out. Be interesting to see. Be interesting to listen, because certainly there's nobody who knows more about it than he knows, and certainly if Trump wanted to really get into the weeds about whether they could do this, I'm sure he would be involved. They'd be stupid not to have him involved. Just saw this on the news. Can't say you didn't hear this from me a long time ago. You can't say you didn't hear it here first. Not that I don't know what this is about. I never talked about them doing something nefarious, but I certainly talked about that I don't trust anything that comes out of those things. And I don't know what that's about, but if it comes out that this is about the order books not being real, and that's exactly what I told you. All right. Any other questions I can answer? I wanted to open up the show to have some people on today. I'm not in a rush. It's 11:25. Oh, here. See, you see, this is what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with.
Be talking about recess
on the issue of vetting, though.
Wait, what did he just say? Did he just say we've discussed recess appointments?
Be talking about recess appointments
on the issue of vetting.
He did. He just said we've talked about recess appointments. There you go.
Be talking about recess
on the issue of vetting, though. How critical is it then to have access to what the House Ethics Committee has found in their investigation?
I think there should not be any limitation on the Senate Judiciary Committee's investigation, including whatever the House Ethics Committee has generated.
So you want to see it?
Absolutely.
Of course, John Cornyn wants to see the House Ethics Committee report, and I'm sure he'll be the one who leaks it to CNN if he's given the chance. Of course he wants to. Well, I'm interested in the first part of that clip as we're sitting here talking about it all morning. We've talked about recess appointments. There you go. Delgado or Kevin Downey Jr. said something last night that, and I think I did see it. I don't know if I paid close attention to what he said because it was hard to hear the audio. That Thomas Massie said something on an escalator to, I guess, the press. Let's see if anything comes up. I'm not sure why the left and the media are freaking out about Trump making recess appointments. Are they freaking out? I got all the networks up in front of me. I don't even see any headlines about it. Clinton made 139, Bush made 171, Obama made 32. Yep. All right, let's hear what this kid's talking about.
Will President Trump be able to get his appointments in now that Senator John Thune is the Republican majority leader in the U.S. Senate? Sure can, according to Federalist Paper 67, written by Alexander Hamilton. He states, "The second clause of the second section of the second article empowers the President of the United States to nominate and by and with the advice and consent of the Senate to appoint ambassadors, other public ministers and counsels, judges of..."
Yeah, that's what we've been over. Oh, here's the Massey clip. All right, let's hear this.
You think he'll get confirmed by the Senate?
He's the Attorney General. Suck it up.
Can he get confirmed by the Senate? It doesn't matter. Trump will have recess appointments. He's the Attorney General. Suck it up.
You think he'll get confirmed by the Senate?
He's the Attorney General. Suck it up.
Okay, there you go. Who's Carissa now? Criminal law professor at University of North Carolina. I've got to give Ed Whalen credit for taking a principled stand on the GOP push to use recess appointments to staff Trump's new cabinet. He's taking a lot of heat for it from the party over principle crowd, and it's an admirable thing for him to do in this political climate. Oh, yeah, sure it is. Uh-huh. Here you go, laying it out. I don't think, by the way, this is what Trump said. When he was at MSG, Trump said that he's got some secret with Mike Johnson that's affecting the election. This would not fit the bill of what he described. I don't know what he was talking about. Johnson said it was about get out the vote. Trump said, we'll let you know what it is once the election is over. But Trump clearly says in that clip that it's something that is helping with the election. I don't think they were thinking this far ahead. Oh, everybody's got this Massey clip up. Oh, wait, maybe Steve did talk about it.
And Matt Gaetz has answered in the affirmative. And Matt Gaetz is going to be the Attorney General of the United States. And so people in the Republican Senate, you better get on board with all these nominations, but particularly this nomination. No, I do not think, and we should not do a recess appointment.
Oh.
This should be, I recommend, voted on. We have to show them that, hey, we ain't going to do this in the dark. Not going to do a recess appointment. Don't need to. Maybe a couple of three. Maybe, hey, you never know. But not this one. Not this one. They have to go on the record. Because we're at an inflection point in the history of this republic. And it's ironic it's coming basically on the eve of the 250th anniversary of Lexington and Concord, which will happen, wait for it, on the eve of the 100th day of Trump's second term. You don't think that's providential? You don't think that's providential? You don't think the Holy Spirit's working here? You don't think divine providence is working here?
Wow, I had not heard that clip. So Steve does not even like the recess appointment. Interesting. Well, I don't know. Does Bannon deep down really think that we're going to get a straight up and down vote on Gates' approval? I mean, come on. Steve knows better than anybody who we're dealing with in the Senate. And he's just seen Thune take the wheel from his mentor, McConnell. Wouldn't surprise me if Thune walks up to the mic and starts going, pom, 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 pom. That's how much he's been, McConnell's oozed onto him. I don't know if Steve really believes that. He may really want that. I get why he wants it. Boy, I don't know if he actually believes it. Last resort, I think he'd be willing to take it. It's not beyond reason to consider the potential. Well, of course it's not beyond reason. They've all done it. Yeah, Ed Whalen, you served as Principal Deputy Assistant Attorney General for the Office of Legal Counsel under President George W. Bush, who made 171 recess appointments. Did you advise your boss that he was wrong? All right, so there's more. I guess this is what I should have done before. I guess there's a little more talk about it. Having a hard time seeing how Gates gets to 50 votes, no matter how much influencers post will of the people on here. The danger is this gets prolonged, wasting valuable time to actually start reforming the agency, and getting to a recess appointment isn't easy. That's true. We've laid it out. Oh, speaking of at the mic, let's listen.
Do you have any concerns about President Trump's cabinet picks so far, and what advice will you give him when it comes to choosing nominees who will pass Senate confirmation?
Well, as you know, the Senate has a advise and consent role under the Constitution, so we will do everything we can to process his noms quickly, get them installed in their position so they can begin to implement his agenda.
Leader Thune, you've said that recess appointments are on the table. That's a key demand from President-elect Donald Trump. Will you move forward with that?
Well, what we're going to do is make sure that we are processing his nominees in a way that gets them into those positions so they can implement his agenda. How that happens remains to be seen. You know, obviously, we want to make sure our committees have confirmation hearings like they typically do, and that these nominees reported out to the floor. But I've said this, and I mean it, that we expect a level of cooperation from the Democrats to work with us to get these folks installed. And obviously, we're going to look at explore all options to make sure that they get moved and that they get moved quickly.
Do you have any concern?
Okay, so Thune can make big inroads, and I'm not going to read too much into because I know who we're dealing with here. Watched it for too many years. But that last comment there is leaves the door open to say, well, we're getting no help, which of course you're not going to get any help. So if they want to play hardball, then maybe I'm willing to play hardball. I can't imagine a scenario that John Thune would do that. I think he's so weak. Thune committed to recess appointments in an effort to win his seat. Again, is that part of the deal? And that's going to be his line. We need to act quickly and decisively to get the president's nominees in place to do their job. We expect help. And then when he doesn't get help, which he knows he's not going to get help, he says, well, I promised the president we'd get his stuff through. If this is how we have to do it, we're not getting any help. This is not the road I want to go down, but this is the road that we're going to have to go down. Well, then good for him. If we get nothing else out of him other than that, it would be worth it, and I'd be surprised if we can. Yeah. Well, there's more talk about recess appointments. Not as much as there should be, but more than I thought, I guess. This Massey clip's getting a lot of play. I mean, listening to Massey, it's just like, yeah, duh, of course we're going to go this way. What do you think? He's going to be the attorney general. Come hell or high water. That's all there is to it. The Senate should not cooperate in this abuse of the recess appointments power, which progressive Supreme Court justices have expanded way beyond its original meaning. But the Senate should adopt procedures that prevent obstructionist delays in up and down votes and nominees. Well, yes, okay. And we'd all like to live in fairy tale land as well, too. I mean, really? Raise your hand if you don't think the bureaucracy is already holding us back in every way, shape, or form. Kathleen, not only did I see it, I posted it. Also posted this story. I actually had this story the other night on the show on Tuesday night, but I never got to it. I think Harris sent out a fundraising email yesterday on Gates, by the way. I think they sent out another fundraising email, believe it or not, after Gates was announced. They may never stop. They may never stop. Check in one more time, a little more.
Slick do to a little punk look like a la like London or something like that, looking very, very slick. It's a blood feud with McCarthy and Gates. Anything he says that comes out of his mouth has nothing to do with rationality. He's just pissed because Matt Gaetz took that son of a bitch out the door into the trash can of history where he belongs. And I hope the boss notes the smack that McCarthy's talking now about one of Donald Trump's best picks so far. Matt Gaetz knows more about what was done to Donald Trump in this country using weaponized lawfare than anybody on Capitol Hill. There is no better person than Matt Gaetz to put in charge at the Department of Justice to root out all this corruption and weaponization. And we just need to get behind him and make sure that it happens. And Steve, yesterday we talked about, like, if the Senate is going to block Donald Trump's cabinet, he's going to block the agenda. That's kind of where this is going. I want to celebrate today the announcement of Sergio Gore as the personnel director. This is brilliant. I got to know Sergio actually through you when you introduced him to me to publish the book, The New.
Okay. We'll check back in on that. Mark Halpern says, here is one factor that those who say the Matt Gaetz nomination is dead are not considering. Every Republican senator has donors, friends, staffers, constituents, and in some cases, kin who want something from the incoming Trump administration, especially jobs. You think that the Trump White House is going to help out any senator who comes out against Matt Gaetz? That isn't even politics 101. That's politics 1. And then if you look at the first two, comments, Recess appointments. Recess appointment. Plus, he'll take Rubio's Senate seat if it was to fail. I'm guessing they don't want Gates as a colleague in the Senate. So there's that to consider as well. Our own Brian Glenn, my message to the Senate is simple. Get off your God complex. It's not about you. The American people elected Trump. This is his desired cabinet, and the people support these appointments. Anything less of a confirmation will reflect on in your next election. It's also something to remember for those who want to still have some kind of a career that, people want to say we have the George Soros of the right and Elon Musk. Remember, Elon Musk is worth about 8 times what George Soros is worth. So if you don't want to have a primary race with real America First conservatives running with an unlimited budget against you, you might want to think about that as well. A little more from our new Senate leader.
Taking action via reconciliation to preserve the tax relief Republicans delivered for Americans during the first Trump administration. It's also time to check the bureaucratic machine here in Washington, D.C. A key element of making America prosperous again is taking a hatchet to the regulatory apparatus choking our economy, starting with the 1,000 Biden-Harris regulations that have already cost Americans nearly $2 trillion. And of course, a major focus of both the Trump administration and the Republican Congress will be restoring American strength to promote peace at home and abroad. That includes restoring American energy dominance for the sake of both economic growth and our national security. Mr. President, yesterday my colleagues chose me to lead Republicans here in the Senate during the 119th Congress. I'm honored by the trust they've placed in me, and I will work every day here in the Senate to serve my colleagues and to...
Yeah. We need to take a hatchet to the regulatory apparatus. Okay. This guy. I mean, when is it finally over for this kid? I mean, good gravy. He's got to have made enough money by now. Please just go away. Please go away. Another one who actually did go away. Eva Longoria says her and her family have left the U.S. following Trump's election. Good. Go. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Again, Whoopi, nobody cares about your sex life. Nobody cares about how much money you have or don't have, or whether you have to work or don't have to work. Nobody cares. Yeah, I just played this clip. Exactly. It begins. Cornyn. That's why we can't have nice things. We have to deal with people like Murkowski, Collins, Cornyn, McConnell still. Just a disaster. I wish one primary season, we could wake up and understand that we have got to put some candidates up to avoid this kind of situation. We gotta just, my God, these people are so pathetic. The Pennsylvania GOP is before the state Supreme Court this morning asking the court to uphold the law. Yeah, good luck with them. Still fighting over the McCormick race. Sounds kind of insurrectionary to me what the Democrats are doing in Pennsylvania, what Bob Casey's doing. Denying elections that have clearly been called. Oh, it's okay when we do it. Don't you know? World Bank bureaucrats lost track of at least $24 billion in funds fighting climate change. Oh, wonderful. If you're angry about Matt Gaetz being nominated as AG, then you worry about the DOJ using the Constitution as toilet paper for the last decade. You're not going to make it. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, everybody. Good stuff. We'll keep an eye out. I was hoping maybe something would break while we were on together, but seemingly nothing. I didn't check Truth Social. I'll just do that quickly before we sign off. From the President's Truth. Nope, last one there is still Gaetz. Nothing yet. Nothing else from the president.
Choices are very good except one. Look, Gaetz won't get confirmed. Everybody knows that. But when you look at a Rubio, just the knowledge that he has being in the...
Speaking as such a matter of fact, huh? Gaetz won't get confirmed. Everybody knows that. We'll see. We'll see. All right, everybody. Anything big happens, maybe I'll jump back on a little later. We'll see what the day brings. But I'll see you tonight at 8 p.m., obviously. Live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice. Be in the studio with Rick and Rick. And we'll see what the rest of the day brings. I think we're going to get a couple. I would be surprised if we join you at 8 with no new appointments. I think we're going to get something, maybe a little later in the afternoon. We'll see. Make sure you visit our sponsors, of course, the main one being Mike Lindell over at MyPillow. LFS6B is the code to use. And if you do use it, of course, you can always go over to our website and pick something out for free. If you haven't been over there lately, a lot of great stuff. New Trump 47 shirt is out. I think it's white and in black. Looks great in both. Says Make America Great Again underneath. So there's that available. You can get that. The new Trump 4547. It's the shirt. And there's a crew neck sweatshirt out as well. I was actually wearing the original version of this the other night. We changed it a little before we actually went. It's got the presidential seal behind it. Pretty cool as well. And if you haven't signed up over at the site, make sure you become a member. Check out Freedom Force Nutrition. Great stuff. Multivitamin for men. Multivitamin for women. Probiotic supplement. K2 and D3 vitamin, which all of you need. Every one of you is short on your D3. If you had your blood work done, you'd all be deficient. We're all deficient. But you need the K2 in there as well to make sure it's absorbed properly. You got a sleep supplement, brain support, magnesium, omega-3 fish oil supplement, hair vitamin gummies, multivitamin for men, multivitamin for women. More stuff to come from them. Great stuff. All encapsulated here in the U.S. So check them out as well. Check out the merch. Of course, the best thing you can do is support Mike Lindell and just use our code LFS6B over there as well. New LFS6B hat. The surf cap is out. The new LFS6B crew shirt I really like a lot. Wore that the other night. Obviously, you've got all your news over at the website. So just sign up. It's real easy. You just go to log in. If you haven't signed up, you can sign up with a Google account or a Facebook account. Literally takes 10 seconds to do it. It's absolutely free. And we send out emails once in a while with codes to save on merch and all kinds of good stuff. So head over to livefromstudio6b.com and sign up over there. And if you do shop at MyPillow this holiday season, make sure you use promo code LFS6B at checkout Gives you great savings too, 50, 60% off some items, great savings. Plus Mike's doing his extended warranty again through March of 2025 on anything you buy. So great deal over there as well. So, all right, I'll see you tonight. If anything breaks that's just huge, I'll try to go live during the day. If we get a big nuclear head-shaking drop of somebody, like Kash Patel at FBI or Dan Bongino at FBI, or both of them, one or the other, FBI, Secret Service, we'll see. We still got to wait on Treasury, Commerce. I think that's going to be Linda McMahon. Treasury looks like it's going to be Betson. Press Secretary, I'm pulling for Scott Jennings. I think he'd be great. By the way, people who say, oh, Scott Jennings has said tough stuff about Trump. So what? Look at what J.D. Vance said about Trump. He's his VP. Look at what Marco Rubio said about Trump. He's now a Secretary of State. They both said way worse than Scott Jennings arguing about politics on CNN. So we'll see. Some big ones still to come. All right, I'll see you tonight, or maybe I'll see you this afternoon. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate it. Love you all. See you later.